Well, helping him is one thing. Falling in love with him is completely different.
Oh, I see. I didn't realize that's what had happened.
I didn't either, Vicky. I mean, at first I thought it was just the regular bond that happens between a nurse and a patient. And you see, I stumbled across Steve's journal. And I thought it was a good idea that I do some reading to him. And so I started, and I started to discover this man that I don't think very many people know about, and that includes Gabrielle. And then I started getting this feeling that he was talking to me through his written words. And that he actually cared for me, you know.
Well, of course he does, especially if what they say about coma patients is true, that they really can hear and understand when people are talking to them.
But how could I be so stupid? I mean, to really think that he was caring for me or sharing my feelings. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I've never met him. I've never heard his voice. And yet I had this fantasy going, you know, that we were destined to be together. And then when he came out of his coma, I went over and I put my arms around him. And it was like a dream come true, you know. And then Gabrielle comes waltzing in there and she tells him that she's going to have a baby. And you should have seen the joy in his eyes. Vicky, I felt like I wanted to curl up in a little bitty ball and just roll right off the face of the earth. Brenda.
Hello.
Alice, hi. What are you doing? I thought Monday nights were your late nights here.
Actually, I was supposed to be on till 8 tonight.
Oh, you have a date or something, huh?
No, it's my last day. I'm afraid this is goodbye.
You're leaving Landview Hospital for good?
Yes, and seeing how well we've gotten to know each other during your stay here, I wanted you to be the first to know.
Oh, well, Alice, I am going to miss you.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Oh, well, that's good, though. You found a better position.
Actually, I haven't had a lot of time to look yet. To tell the truth, I didn't know I was going to have to until a few days ago.
You got fired?
Yeah. Dr. Davidson said she had to let me go. She feels that she can't keep a nurse on staff who mixes up pregnancy test results.
Mistakes happen, Alice. That is no reason for her to fire you.
I didn't make a mistake. I am positive that I marked those tests correctly. But somehow, Mrs. Cleary's test came back negative and Mrs. Holden's was positive. And as it turned out, Mrs. Cleary was pregnant after all.
Are you telling me that Mrs. Holden is not pregnant?
Okay, come on, let's go back to the cabin and we'll tell your parents what happened and so they can call the police.
But why? I mean, he's dead. There's nothing they can do now. I'm gonna pay them.
Kevin, it was an accident. It's not like you aimed the gun and pulled the trigger.
But I'm still responsible. If the police catch me, they're gonna put me in jail like they did Aunt Tina. But I'm gonna stay for life. Maybe even get the chair.
They don't send children to the electric chair.
There's always a first time.
Look, we'll explain to the police what happened and make sure that they understand that it was an accident.
What if they don't believe me?
So what's our alternative? To keep this a secret for the rest of our lives?
Listen, I know this shack nearby. We could hide there until night and then make our escape.
You can't just leave this man here and just expect someone to come walking on by.
Somebody will find him.
Well, you can't leave that there. We'll know it's you in an instant.
Yeah, how?
It's got your fingerprints all over it.
You're right. Oh, who cares?
Come on, you can't go.
What are you doing? Let's go.
No, listen, this is a big thing. Now, you listen to me. You have to tell the truth. This isn't like some everyday thing. You can't walk away from something like this.
Watch me.
Kevin! Kevin, you get back here! Kevin!
You don't have to babysit me, Vicky. My heart's not going to give out. Why don't we help Clint find the
No.
place?
Give him a few more minutes, Asa. He's hardly had time to get to the clearing.
Damn it, I mean, how could I be so stupid? If anything happens to either one of those boys...
I think maybe we're jumping to conclusions here. We don't even know for sure that the boys are the ones who took the rifle. And if they did, well, they're used to handling guns. At least Kevin is.
There is no excuse ever for leaving a loaded rifle anywhere. One rule we had, no loaded guns in the house. You go near a gun, you have an adult with you. How could I forget something like that? I must have said it 1,000 times.
Asa, you're not responsible for what the Danner I did to your system.
Oh, Vicky, it's been months since Renee drugged me. We flew in Dr. Bruner to cure me. I'm supposed to be better. I'm getting worse. I want to take care of my family. I want to keep them out of harm's way.
I'm sure no harm is going to come to them.
No? What about the rift with my sons? And what man in his right mind lets his business go to pot?
Oh, come on. Buchanan Enterprises is still a strong and viable company.
Well, no thanks to me. I've been going around the fog for months, making business deals and forgetting them from one minute to the next.
Asa, you're hardly in the poorhouse.
That's not the point, Vicky. If anything happens to my business due to my forgetfulness, I could live with that. But if I am responsible for harming one hair on my grandson's head, I will pack it in. There is no way I could go on living with myself.
This is where greed gets you, pal. Penniless, nameless, and dead. Hey, remind me to thank Bo's nephew for making this such a neat and tidy little job.
Kevin! Tyler! Kevin! Where are you?
Oh, my God. He's dead. Hey, Gloria. Why would somebody be wandering around without any ID on him? No what?
Kevin! Tyler! Come on, I'm going back to the cabin. Kevin!
Those gardeners. I had no choice but to bring you in this way. They're working so close to the bomb shelter.
This is your home, isn't it? You've been keeping us prisoners right here at Stonecrest, haven't you?
Yes, and I warn you to erase that fact completely from your memory. It would cause me untold trouble if you were to mention this to anyone.
Oh, I would never want to cause you any trouble, Henry. You've been so kind to me. And I will be eternally grateful to you for allowing me to see my daughter today. I am sorry that Tina recognized me. I hope that it won't ruin my chances of seeing Sammy again.
I'm sorry, my dear, but taking you out was a mistake I shall not make again.
But I did everything you told me to do.
You wanted to see me, sir? Hey, what's she doing up here?
Never mind. Get her to the bomb shelter immediately and use the secret door. And Alf, not a word to anyone about this. Understood?
Whatever you say, sir.
Delilah, take off the duster and the hat. Quickly.
Oh, but please, Henry, promise me that you'll let me see my daughter again.
I never make promises I can't keep, my dear.
Please. Please.
Joanna, darling, would you come downstairs for a moment? I need a favor of you.
What's all the excitement about, Daddy?
I'm not sure yet, honey, but I think you should go home with Mrs. Olson now.
Will you be home before I have to go to sleep?
Oh, sweetheart, I promise. I'll even read you your favorite bedtime story. Would you like that?
I sure would.
All right, it's a date. Oh, love you. See you a little later.
And that's when you use the call box to contact the police.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to leave the playground when I saw her because I thought Delilah might come back.
Thanks, Nick. I'll take it from here.
Yes, sir.
I hate to have to do this to you, Tina, but could you start from the beginning again for my benefit?
That's okay. I mean, there isn't that much to tell or anything. Yeah, I mean, Clint likes to come here to the playground, even though he's a little too small to really play on anything. Well, except for the sandbox. But then, you know, he gets so dirty that, you know, it's so hard to
Just
get him
the
all cleaned
facts,
up.
Tina, please.
Oh. Yeah, well, I was just sitting here with Clint, and I looked over at the other bench, and I saw Delilah there with Lord Henry Layton. And I called out to her, but then he just swooped her off before, I guess she heard me, and then I called you.
Sammy didn't mention a word about seeing her mother. If Delilah had been here, I know Sammy would have recognized her.
It was Delilah. I saw her.
You're sure it was Delilah? And after all, her picture is in the banner today. Maybe she's just on your mind a lot.
No, it's not just that. I know it was her. Look, and besides, I remember thinking to myself how strange it was, because Delilah's usually in all, you know, her own designs, those beautiful clothes and everything, and she was really in this, like, frumpy thing with this god-awful hat. And besides just being surprised to see her, I thought she would have called out to me or something, or and I thought she would have called you, and she must know how frantic you are with worry.
Okay, great. Frank, get the car started. We're going to go to Stonecrest on the double. Nick, I want you to stay here in case Delilah shows up again. If you need me, you know where to find me.
Yes, Captain.
Bad habits are so hard to break. Even though I love my soft scrub cleanser.
Well, I can't say for sure whether or not Mrs. Holden is pregnant. I just know that the mix-up was over her test being positive and Mrs. Cleary's being negative. And when Dr. Davidson retested Mrs. Cleary's, it was a definite positive.
Well, Davidson retested Mrs. Holden, too, didn't she?
She wanted to. But Mrs. Holden refused and said that she was going to be seeing another OB/GYN specialist.
Oh, well, I guess that's her prerogative, Alice.
Yeah. I just wish Mrs. Holden had let us run another test. If it had come back positive, I might still be employed.
Oh, honey.
Yeah. But I guess there's nothing I can do about it now, except pick up the paper on my way home from work and check out the help wanted section.
Well, will you call me and let me know how everything works out?
Sure I will.
You're going to be fine, Alice.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye. Gabrielle.
Oh, Brenda. No need to wait out here. You know how much Steve enjoys your company.
I know. I just wanted to give you a little privacy. I know you have a lot to talk about. The baby and everything.
Oh, we have months for that. We'd bore each other to death if we didn't pace ourselves.
I guess. I just heard something that has me a little puzzled, and
Do you mind if I excuse myself? I was really actually on the way to the doctor. I want to find out when Steve's going to be released. Excuse me.
Sure. Can I go in? Hi.
Hey, hi. Read any good books lately?
I cannot believe that you remember my being here with you all that time.
Yeah, well, I can't give you a blow-by-blow description of what was said while I was in a coma, but I know that I have you to thank for my recovery.
No, you were the one who did all your own fighting to get back to us,
Well,
Steve.
the fighting was inspired by you. Sit down.
Okay.
You know, I think the only thing I'm going to miss about this place is you. But we're going to keep in touch, right? Especially after the baby's born. Oh, now what was that look for? Is something wrong?
Yeah. I just heard something that I think you ought to know about.
Did you find him? Was he all right?
No, I didn't find him, honey. I did find a man down in the clearing.
Well, what did he say? Did he fire the shot? Did he see the children?
He's dead.
What?
You sure, Clint?
Yes, Father. He'd been shot in the chest. And your rifle was laying next to him.
Oh, my God. But where are the boys? Why didn't they come back here?
Honey, they probably panicked and made a run for it.
That means they're out there all alone. Lord knows what's going to happen to them. Clint, we have to go and find them now.
must be a candle here someplace. Oh, great. Now it's even spookier. I killed that man. Now I can never go home.
Boy. Yeah, I can't get over what a beautiful place this is.
Yeah, I didn't have much time to enjoy it at the party. I had too much on my mind once Steedy came in and started acting so strange.
I know what you mean. Are you sure Clint's gonna be okay in the squad car?
Yeah, Frank will look after him. Boy, that is some fireplace.
Good evening, Captain Garretson.
Sir?
Mrs. Roberts. Jarvis informed me you wish to speak to me. Nothing serious, I hope.
Well, first of all, I'd like to apologize for showing up without calling first. But a report from Mrs. Roberts left me with no choice but to follow it up immediately.
Lord Henry, what's that patrol car doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to barge in.
That's quite all right, Garth. You know the good captain and Mrs. Roberts from the party, I believe.
Yes. Hello.
Now, you were saying something about a report that Mrs. Roberts made.
Well, as you may or may not know, my wife disappeared about 9 months ago.
Oh, yes, indeed. And I can certainly empathize with you over the loss of a beloved wife.
Thank you, sir. In any case, Tina was at a playground a little while ago, and she claims that she saw Delilah there.
But that's wonderful news for you, Captain.
She also reported that you were with her.
Me? With your wife? Oh, I'm afraid that's quite impossible.
Were you down at Lambview Park today?
Yes, but
Didn't you hear me calling you?
I'm afraid not, my dear. Nor was I with the captain's wife.
Well, I know it was Delilah. I saw her there.
Do you mind if I have a look around, Lord Henry?
What on earth for? This is a terrible misunderstanding.
Lord Henry, I'd appreciate your cooperation, but just to keep everything above board, I've already called the station to have a man meet me down here with a warrant that covers the grounds as well.
In that case, feel free to search the entire house.
Okay, well, maybe you could start by pointing out some of the outlying buildings to me.
Certainly. Now, the garage is closest to the main house. Beyond that, we have the pool house. Of course, over to the right, we have the gazebo.
There she is!
Oatmeal Raisin Crisp?
Taste what they've done to my oatmeal. Oatmeal Raisin Crisp is wholesome oatmeal and crispy flakes.
I taste raisins and almonds.
Is that a little brown sugar I taste?
Taste what...
Delilah? Joanna, my dear, would you come in for a moment? Darling, you remember Rafe Garretson, don't you?
Yes, of course. You were at my party. How nice to see you again. And you too, Tina. Daddy, what's going on? Why did Captain Garretson call out Delilah?
I'm afraid there's been a hope-shattering mistake. You see, Tina saw us together in the park today and mistook you for the dear captain's beloved wife, Delilah, who has been missing these past months.
Oh, yes. I read about that in the Banner today. I was taken by the likeness between your wife and my mother. It's really quite remarkable.
She resembles Caroline. No wonder you were confused, Mrs. Roberts. Fortunately, or in this case, unfortunately, Joanna inherited her mother's beauty. No doubt it was this resemblance that led you to mistake my daughter for Delilah.
Yeah, maybe seeing Delilah's picture in the Banner. I don't know. Maybe that's what made me make this awful mistake. I'm
I'm so sorry for causing all this confusion.
It's quite all right, Mrs. Roberts.
I'd like to extend my apologies to Lord Henry.
Oh, think nothing of it, dear boy. My heart sincerely goes out to you in your plight. I shall hope and pray that fortune smiles on your search for your wife.
Thanks. I think that about wraps it up.
Let me walk you to your car.
Sorry for the mix-up. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again, too. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Very well then, Garth. Pardon my French, but just what the hell is going on here?
Fine, I'll meet you out in front of the cabin. Thank you. All right, the ambulance is on its way, along with the sheriff and some of his men. I'm gonna meet him out in front and lead him into the woods where I found the body.
Is he bringing enough men to search for the boys?
Yes, and he's also gonna call the ranger station. Now, at any rate, I'll be back just as soon as I can get further news.
Quinn, honey, I'm really frightened. The kids are out there all alone. It's going to be very dark pretty soon. We've got to find them before nightfall.
Well, Connie, they probably are scared out of their minds, and they're hiding somewhere. But don't you worry, we'll find them. You just keep an eye on Paul, will you? I don't want him working himself into another heart attack over this.
I'll keep him calm.
I don't care that Dave's gone home. You get him on the phone. I need him. I am still head of Buchanan Enterprises. When I send a chopper, you send a chopper ASAP. You got it? Boy, I have a chopper coming, honey. You search the area. You know, I've been thinking about Kevin. You know, I think he can survive in all this. I mean, he's kind of raised in the woods here, wasn't he?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
I am right. You're gonna see. He's gonna stroll in here with his little friend in tow.
Hey, fancy seeing you guys here. I didn't know you had a family mountain getaway planned.
We could say the same about you, Paul.
Well, I was just up here looking at some land that I'm thinking of buying. I thought I'd stop by, check on the cabin, too, make sure. Why the long faces? You still sore at me?
No, that's not it at all. Asa, I'm going to call Brenda and tell her the news. Would you please fill Bowie while I do that?
What's going on, Pa? You look like you just lost your best friend.
I pray to God, Bo, that we haven't. Just pray to God that we haven't.
Well, before I go on, I just want you to understand that in my experiences as a nurse and in my training, if I've learned anything, it is never to lie to a patient. Now, how am I going to say this? Sometimes, in order to facilitate a patient's recovery, somebody in the family will give them something to look forward to, something that can be easily explained once they feel that the patient's strong enough to hear the truth. Now, I don't believe in that. I've seen it done 100 times, Stephen. Believe me, it does a lot more harm than it ever did good. And what?
I got it. You're trying to tell me that I should get ready for you to read to me again when I fall back into a coma.
No, that is not it. Your doctors across the board agree you are never going to slip back into a coma.
Okay, then what is all this talk about raising false hopes and telling the truth?
Well, I'm just going to have to say it. I have a friend who's a nurse here, and I ran into her a little while ago out in the hall, and she told me that, well, she had...
Hold that thought. Hello.
Steve, it's Vicky.
Vicky, hi. It's great to hear your voice.
Yes, and you too. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. I still got a few cobwebs to clear up, you know, but other than that, I'm fine. Thanks for the beautiful flowers.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying them. Let me ask you something. Is Brenda there with you by any chance?
Yeah, she's right here. You want to talk to her?
Yes, please.
Okay, hold on. It's Vicky.
Hi. Are you having a good time up at the cabin?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm calling, honey. There's been an accident.
Something's happened to Tyler.
We're not sure yet. We're not sure. We think that the boys went off into the woods together with a loaded rifle. And by the time we discovered it was missing, we heard a gunshot. Clint went out to see what happened, and he found a man in a clearing not too far away from here. But the man is dead.
Oh, God, no.
Honey, we don't know for sure that the boys have the rifle or that they were involved. But if they are, we think that they've just panicked and run away. Clint called the sheriff, and he's got men looking for them all over the place, but I thought possibly you'd like to come up here.
Well, I'm on my way, okay?
Good. Do you still have the directions
Yeah,
that I gave you?
I do.
Okay, I'll see you very soon. Please drive carefully.
I will, Vicky. Something's happened to Tyler and Kevin.
Go. Keep me posted, okay?
Yeah, I will.
Hello, Steve. Oh, hi. I had a feeling I'd see you again.
Look, I'm not going to apologize to you for digging my heels in on this case. I spent a lot of time on it. And I'm not going to let up until I find whoever it was trying to kill you after Vasquez was out of the picture. I've grown too fond of you and your family to let this lie.
I know. I can see how important it is to you.
And please understand, all I'm asking is one session with a professional police hypnotist. If he can tap into your subconscious, we may find a key to unlock this puzzle once and for all.
What are you doing here again, Detective? Haven't you caused enough problems with your incessant questions? Now get out.
Joe, now that you're in school, Mom can start a job. And today's the day.
Bye. Detective Johnson, I just asked you to leave.
Calm down, honey.
No, not until I know why he's bothering you.
He's not bothering me. He's here to try to help.
How? By giving you nightmares?
Look, Detective Johnson thinks that it might be best for me to undergo hypnosis. He feels that there might be something buried in my subconscious that might help provide some answers as to the attack on my life.
No, I will not allow that. That's far too dangerous a procedure.
Hypnosis is an accepted police and medical procedure.
Detective Johnson, my husband just came out of a coma. His mind is far too fragile for something like that. There's no telling what it would do to him.
It'll be perfectly safe. My man is the best there is, and there'll be a doctor present.
I won't allow it. I will not let you use my husband for some sort of guinea pig.
There's nothing experimental about hypnosis. It's been successfully used in cases like this for years.
You're not going to change my mind. That's it. I will not allow it.
Why don't we leave it up to Steve? I mean, after all, he is the one who was almost killed. Isn't that right? Steve?
Stop grinning at me like a Cheshire cat, Garth. I want to know why Daddy suddenly wanted me to dress up in these perfectly horrible clothes and vouch for him having been in the park with me.
Weren't you?
I certainly was not. I've been here all day. Surprised you didn't already know that, considering how you enjoy spying on me.
I prefer calling it admiring you from afar.
Well, if you care for me as much as you say you do, I'd be grateful if you'd explain to me the necessity for that little masquerade.
Well, what makes you think I know?
Because Daddy trusts you implicitly, and he's come to look upon you as his right-hand man. So it's no good playing Mr. Innocent with me. Well, I'm waiting.
Thank God that's settled. I'm certain the good captain is completely convinced. Joanna, darling, you were marvelous.
Well, of course, but why did you want me to pretend I was in the park with you?
It's better you were left in the dark at that point, my dear. Sufficient to say that you rescued me, and I shall be eternally grateful to you.
Rescued? From what?
Joanna, dear, trust me on this. I can't tell you any more than I already have.
Which wasn't very much.
Lord Henry, you've had a rough day. Why don't you go upstairs and lie down before dinner?
Good advice, Garth. Good advice, my dear.
Something is terribly amiss here. Daddy was obviously in the park with someone, but it wasn't me.
So it would seem.
Don't play the artful dodger with me, Garth. I want to know who Daddy was with today. I want to know who I'm supposed to look like, and I want to know now.
Those boys must be scared to death out there. You know what? I'm gonna go out and join the search. Okay. Hey, any news?
A blow. I figured Vicky'd call you, but how'd you get up here so fast?
Well, he was looking at land in the area. He came by to check on the cabin.
Yeah, Asa filled me in on everything that's happening. Any sign of them?
No. No.
Damn.
The sheriff's men spread out around the clearing, but so far there's not a trace of either one of them.
Have they identified the man?
No. No, the sheriff doesn't recognize him as being a local, and he called in a description, but that's not going to help much if he doesn't have a record.
Honey, we're gonna have to tell Joey something. He's gonna see the police cars and the helicopter when it comes.
Oh, I ordered the helicopter in, Clint. Dave should be here any minute now.
Thanks, Pa. Honey, I know that we've always been honest with the boys, but I'm not sure that we should say anything to Joey about the shooting just yet.
Clint, I'm so scared for them. I mean, they're out there alone. The woods are full of bears and packs of wild dogs. They're totally defenseless out there.
Honey, with Ace's chopper and the extra men, I'm sure we'll turn up something before long. Now, you just say a prayer or two. I'm going to get back out and rejoin the search party.
Hey, Clint, look, I know we've had our disagreements lately, but I think it's time we put all that behind us and we pull together here.
Clint said the same thing earlier. When the Buchanan brothers get together, there's nothing they can't do when they set their minds to it.
That's right, Pa.
So why don't you stay here with Vicky right now? She needs you more than anybody else. And you look exhausted. I'll go out and I'll join the search.
Well, thanks, Bo, but Kevin's my son.
Oh, I know, and he's my nephew. I know how you must feel, too. But don't worry. Don't worry. If you just hang in here, I'm going to go out there. I'm not coming back until I make sure I have those boys with me and that they're safe and they're sound.
Okay, a totally different approach to eyeliner. This
Fine kettle of fish here now, haven't we? Ever since I arrived at Landview, you've done nothing but hurl insults at me. Now you want something from me. I'm supposed to roll over as nice as you please and tell you what you want to know?
Garth, please, I need your help. I must find out what's going on here.
Yes, but why ask me? Why come to me for help?
Because I'm sure Daddy would have confided in you.
Or maybe he has. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe he's confided in Robert. Why don't you track down that white knight of a husband of yours and ask him?
Robert, he wouldn't help me if my life depended on it.
Oh, trouble in paradise.
No, not at all. Haven't you heard? I've got the perfect husband, the perfect marriage, the perfect house.
Do I detect a note of bitterness in your voice?
Well, is it any wonder? Nothing has worked out as I thought it would. Robert has deserted me. Now even Daddy's acting strange. It's as if he's in some sort of danger. Is that it, Garth? Does someone want to harm my father? Because I couldn't bear to see him hurt. I mean, he's not a well man as it is.
Did he tell you that?
Oh, he doesn't have to. I can see it in his eyes and the way he's become so distraught lately. Oh, Garth. I'm so frightened of losing him. I don't know what I'd ever do without his strength and the way he cares for me and the way he looks after me.
There. You can always depend on me when you need a shoulder to lean on. But then again, I think you've got a lot of inner strength yourself.
You do?
Oh, yes. I think you're a lot tougher than your father gives you credit for. One of these days, I'll be able to tell you everything. And it'll be a real pleasure teaching you how to deal with your enemies.
What enemies?
Never you mind. You'll find out soon enough. And when you do, that latent fire that is within you will ignite. And together, we'll crush them under our feet.
I don't see how I can agree to undergo hypnosis when I know how much it upsets my wife.
I understand your reluctance, but we have been banging our heads against a stone wall. You're our last hope to crack this case wide open.
Look, there's no guarantee that what I remember will be useful. And I have to consider my wife's emotional state. She's carrying my child, and I could never forgive myself if anything happened to her or to the baby.
And I take it your answer is no.
As much as I hate to say it, I'm afraid I'm going to have to turn down your suggestion.
But I have the feeling we are so close to apprehending this perpetrator.
I know, and I'm sorry. I will do anything I can to help you, short of being hypnotized.
I understand.
Very well, Detective. I'm sorry that we couldn't help you, but perhaps you'll be able to find the answers to your questions somewhere else.
Oh, don't worry, Mrs. Holden. I will. Who knows? Maybe I'll find some other way to unlock Steve's mind. And he'll remember something about who it was who tried to kill him. And why.
How could I have been so careless, Clint? I caused the man's death.
Paul, you're not the only one that's responsible for this. Obviously, I didn't get through to Kevin the dangers of playing with guns, or this wouldn't have happened. But it's not going to do us any good to beat ourselves up over it. All we have to do is find them and then help them find a way to deal with the tragedy and make sure it just never happens again.
Yeah.
How's Joey?
He's upset. He assures me Kevin can look after himself.
Well, he's right. Both Kevin and Tyler are sturdy young men.
They're not men, darling. They're children. They're frightened children. It's bad enough for an adult to have to deal with the trauma of accidentally killing someone. These children shouldn't be made to go through a tragedy like that alone. They're sensitive babies. That's what they are. And they disappeared hours ago. The longer they're missing, the less chance there is of finding them.
Now, you see, that's probably the sheriff and the boys right now. Oh, Brenda, come on in.
The boys here?
No, they're still missing.
Oh, God. I've been praying all the way over that they'd be here when I arrived. This is just a mistake. They're not responsible for a man's death.
Yeah, well, that's what we've been praying to.
God, there are just acres and acres of woods out here. They could be hurt, Clint, or they could... Oh, Vicky, I'm sorry. I'm making this worse.
Sorry.
The sheriff's office is looking for him, along with every available man from the Forest Ranger Station.
And my son, Bo, is joining the search.
That's right. And I am sure that Bo is going to find them.
I didn't mean to kill that man, Lord. I know you believe me, but the police won't. I didn't mean to hurt Mom and Dad either. But I have to hide. I have to hide somewhere where I'm safe, where the cops won't take me and put me in jail. I think it's dark enough for my escape.
Going somewhere, kid?
Uncle Bo, man, am I glad to see you. I'm in trouble. Bad. You're gonna help me, aren't you?
Where do artificial lemons grow? Do they